So I was going to do clinical mental health, and I actually got accepted to grad school, but I wanted to work with food stuff, but not eating disorders, because my issue wasn't a bona fide eating disorder. And so I look at the curriculum that I was going to be facing for the next 3 years, and my heart would just sink. I was like, psychopharmacology and all these other things. I'm like, that's just not where I'm at. So Dr. Hyman, I was reading one of his books, and I got hooked up with a coach of his in California. And she happened to mention, I know you're going to grad school, but I want you to look at Mark David's program. And I'm thinking, no, I've got this all figured out, even though I don't want to go to grad school at this place. But and so I checked it out, and the minute I saw the curriculum, that was it. I was like, that's what I've personally always been looking for. And I just knew. And I followed my heart in that. And I never have regretted it for 1 minute. I am so glad I went this route. It's changed my life, for one thing, personally. And I think it's the place where my passions and my purpose collided. And, it affected my story so much in that going through the program set me free from my own disordered eating. It helped me step out of shame and more into who I truly am. And it is just absolutely an honor to be able to work with women and some men as well in the same capacity and to just see people get free. I'm all about freedom. And so this program also, it was a community. It was a new tribe that I acquired. I live in the Midwest, and, it's like it opened up my world to meet so many new people from all over the world. But this work that I'm doing, I feel like it's the thing I was always looking for so many years. I did this and that and the other, and massage therapy and all these other things. And this is what I was really looking for my whole life. And as I've said before, it was when I would go try to get help with disordered eating, because I wasn't overweight or something like that, people just would say, you're too hard on yourself, or, you're fine, So this is the program where it just breaks down all those walls, and it helps you really get to the heart of your issues and see that they're really divine symptoms and find that healing. Yeah. Then you get to give it away. So it's awesome. Eating is so connected to spirituality. Our spirituality is so connected to our emotions. Our emotions are so, we're all integrated beings. And I think a lot of times we try to I came from a tradition, a spiritual, Christian tradition, where a lot of times that piece wasn't looked at as a whole. It was kind of like piecemealed, and our bodies were certainly not elevated very much. So it was very easy to disconnect from that. So it really taught me to bring it all back into importance. So when I work with people, we can look at the whole person and honor how the symptoms are showing up, whatever they are, and take that exploration together. Our clients are a mirror to us, right? A lot of the same things that we struggle with, that's the kind of people we'll attract to help and work with. So, women that, usually are very conscientious, very passionate, trying to be the great mom, trying to serve so many people, do for everybody else, and probably that honestly thinks it's kind of selfish to take time to look at your own life. But the thing that keeps bugging them and backing them in a corner is their frustrations with food or their body shape or whatever. So that tends to be a lot of the clients that I attract. And it's a wonderful thing because I can relate to it. I have to mention the client. I actually started working with her when I was in school here. And so she was really the first person I worked with. And she was fascinating. She had gastric bypass surgery in her 20s and thought that was going to, take away all the pain from the inside, and found herself, on a high for a couple years, but then plummeted into a deep depression and realized that the emotional pain and all of that was still there. So when we met together, we just dove in and it was beautiful work, and she just opened up. I mean, her family relationships began changing. She began setting new boundaries. She was getting a sense of herself. She wore shorts for the first time than she had she didn't even remember the last time she wore shorts. And then she had a fear with men. had a definite fear with men. She started practicing eye contact. She would say she'd drive and look at construction workers and like actually look at them back in the eyes. She was amazing. She was amazing. And she had a lot of struggles with binge eating, and that started to soften as she began to engage the feelings behind that were triggering that. And then she found the call to move to California from Indiana by her, she was a single woman. Awesome. I mean, and I was thrilled to work with her. She's an amazing woman. So that is just one of the success stories. And still to this day, I get to hear, she gives me, stories and emails and all that, just keeping me caught up. And she's still just really doing great and just continuing to grow. It's beautiful. It's not a luxury, to take care of yourself. Part of my healing was learning to practice self-care. And now it's so normal, that I even look at my schedule and I say, if it is overscheduled or overbooked during the week, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. That is not fair to my clients. That is not fair to me. That's not fair to my kids, my husband. So, I look at the whole picture now, and I will, schedule fun into every week and make sure of it, because anticipation is the great health benefit. So that's just a natural part of my life. I make time to dance. I make time to move. I get centered and pray every morning. I get time with my girls. I've spent good time with my family. We try to have fun together. And, and if I am struggling, I am tired, or my body is showing symptom, I don't miss that. I take that seriously, and I listen. And so, and sometimes you overdo it, but then I know how to pull back and, get centered again. So, well, I have 2 young kids. And so for many years, I stayed home with them, and then I kind of helped out as a spiritual mentor to some women. And then I was always doing little things on the side, like I'm a massage therapist. So, but I never felt what it was like to bring in my own income and even know what that was like. I got married pretty young. So it's actually been fascinating to realize how much I needed to feel like I could do good work in the world and generate income, not even for money's sake, but for the sake of just knowing that I have something valuable to give away that people will invest in, and it's benefiting them by investing in their journey and their healing. So money has just come in. And what's been amazing to me is, as I've set my pricing, I've always done that in a heart-centered way, to where it felt right to me. You can look at a lot of cookie-cutter approaches, and this is how you should price, but I always have come back to, it's got to feel in alignment with my values and just where I'm at in my life. And so it adjusts and it changes, but I've never had once a person not willing to pay. So that's what's been so cool. I'm like, wow, okay. I get to also invest in things like this. And I get to use my own income to invest in these types of things. It feels great. I find that it's a huge advantage to be labeled as an eating psychology coach, because it brings a sense of, what now? Say what? And that's a good thing, because then, and if I just was like, I'm a nutritionist, people say, oh, okay, I know what that is, and move on. But because it's kind of a unique, like you said, fringe label, so to speak, and the work is unique as well. People want to ask more questions typically, and that gives you a great opportunity to help them really understand what it is about. So I love that. Sometimes people do think, oh, is that nutritionist? And you get to help them understand the distinction. And so I actually love it, that it kind of has a fringy name. The most important thing is just to realize that we are all healers, and that, if somebody is struggling with food shame, that it's important to know that that you are called to heal, and even that you can do this work, even if that is your struggle. Even more so, it kind of gives you the right to step out into this kind of work and be the change. Well, the background I have, my degrees in communications and public speaking, and I really see and feel a call to do a lot more speaking and really getting out there, doing workshops, retreats, collaborating with other coaches, women, and doing that type of thing. Like really just going all the way. Like I am right now, I love my one-on-one work with people, and I really do want to, I give my all to that and everything, but my next step in the fall is to start doing groups. I've done groups before, but specifically eating psychology-based groups with women, transformative groups. kind of a sacred circle type of thing. So, some group work, but then the speaking, the traveling, the workshops and all of that. And just being able to be more connected with tribes like this. And I just see the sky as the limit. Absolutely. And I'm willing to go as far as I possibly can.